All right, boys and girls, welcome to lesson 16. The focus today is going to be explaining why the quotient is the quotient in a whole number by fraction equation. So a whole number divided by a fraction equation. Why is the quotient? Why is the answer that answer? So we're working on explaining it. So, question 1. So we have 1/4 is divided by 5 equals 1/20. So we are explaining it. So if I draw a picture, once again, and I have 1/4 of something, okay, 1/4 of something, and I'm dividing it into 5 parts. Okay, 5 parts, that's not 5 parts. We need to get it into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts. I want to know what is one of those parts. So how would I explain this in words? What's going on here? Okay, when 1/4 is divided into 5 equal parts, the size of each part is 1/20. The size of each of these parts is going to be 1/20. This is what I'm looking for you to practice doing today. Explaining why. And why the quotient of 1/20 is 1/20. By saying when 1/4 is divided into 5 equal parts, there's 5 equal parts here, the size of each part is 1/20. Okay? Let's look at another one we're going to be also explaining today. Question 2. Explain why box A is 1/4 the size of box B. How is box A, so this is going to be box A, is 1/4 the size of box B. So 5 feet compared to 20 feet. When you divide 20, number 20, into fourths, 1/4 sections, you get 5 for each section. What does that look? So if I divide this rectangle, okay, into 4 rectangles, one of those rectangles will be 5. One of those smaller rectangles will be 5. That's what that's saying. When you divide 20 into fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 4 sections, you get 5 for each of those sections. 5, 5, 5, and 5. That is how you explain why box A is 1/4 the size of box B. Okay, question 3. Explain why 1/5 divided by 3 equals 1/15. So here's what I want you to first do. Draw the picture in Jamboard and then explain. Hit the pause button to do that now, please. So here's my picture to explain why, and then I'm going to explain it in words. So picture first, explaining it, and then words. So I broke it up a box, a rectangle, into 1/5. So a fifth here, a fifth here, a fifth here, a fifth here, a fifth here. For each 1/5, I'm dividing it into thirds. Okay? And I want to determine what's one of those parts, one of those sections, which is going to be 1/15. Here's how you would explain it in words. When 1/5 is divided into 3 equal parts, the size of each part is 1/15. The size of each part is 1/15. Picture, words. Okay, question 4. Compare the weight of car 1 to car 2. So car 1 is 4 tons and car 2 is 12 tons. Compare it using putting it in a sentence. This is just like question 2 back here. Okay, where I'm saying box B, okay, explain why box A is 1/4 the size of box B. Okay, when you divide 20 into fourths, 1/4 sections, you get 5 for each section. So when you're looking at question 4 here, compare the weight of car 1 to compare to car 2. Compare the weight of car 1. What's the fraction of car 1 compared to car 2? Use words to help yourself explain that. I'm going to hit the pause button now for you to do that in Jamboard. So here's the expression I would utilize. If 4 tons divided by what gave me 12? So 4 tons divided by 1/3 gives me 12. How do I know that? Because 4 times, you flip to 1/3 using KCF, I'm going to get 3, which also gives me 12. So, how would I write that in words? Or how did you write it in words? Car 1 is 1/3 the weight of car 2. 1/3 the weight of car 2. How do I prove that? Looking at my pictures here, if I broke this up into thirds, here's your car 1 right there. It's 1/3 of car 2. All right, question 5. Explain why 1/6 divided by 5 equals 1/3. Hit the pause button to do that. And what you're going to be doing is drawing the picture to prove it and writing it in words in Jamboard. Picture and words. Hit the pause button now. Okay, so 1/6 divided by 5 is 1/30. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that shows 1/6, 1/6 here, 1/6 here, 1/6 here, 1/6 here, 1/6 here, 1/6 here. I'm going to divide each of them up into 5 parts. Now that's going to be really hard to count. So there's an easier way to figure this out. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5. So how many of these guys are there? There's 1 out of 30 is what's going to have, this is going to be worth. 1 out of 30. That's my picture. How do I explain it in words? When 1/6 is divided into 5 equal parts, each part is 1/30. All right, let's pause. After you work on question 6 here. Question 6, compare the size of the playground 1 to playground 2. Ooh. Okay, area, we're doing a 3/8 playground, 3 times 8 playground, compared to a 3 times 16 playground. So how much larger is playground 2 compared to playground 1? Or you could say, how much smaller is playground 1 compared to playground 2? Here's a hint. These numbers are the same. look at these two numbers. How much smaller is this playground, or is this number compared to this number? Hit the pause button to show and explain in the Jamboard now. So since you're timesing each by 3, they're the same number you're timesing by. If you look at the 8 and the 16, you'll see that 8 is half of 16, which means playground 1 is half the size of playground 2. Okay, so there's 2 separate problems. It's all about explaining today. Explaining this type of division problem and explaining these 2 different sizes. That's what you're working on doing for the exit ticket for both questions. You're explaining the why for question 1, and you're comparing the playgrounds for question 1 and playground. So this is playground 1, and this is playground 2, where you're comparing the sizes. How much smaller is this playground compared to this playground? Think fraction. All right. Best of luck. Thank you for your participation today. I hope you asked questions. I hope you had the substitute rewind and pause at different points in time that were confusing to help clarify. And if you need that done right now, don't hesitate to go back to a specific problem to revisit it again. You could also watch it revisit again on your own, or you can have the substitute pull up on the board, which would be more beneficial not just to yourself but other classmates as well. If you have a question, there's a likely chance somebody else has a similar question. Thank you, boys and girls.